Tony Hager here with another shoe review. Today we're taking a look at the Nike Furies. These are Athlete Performance Solutions brand new shoes. These are going to be, the hyper sweeps were very, very popular for them. These are taking over the takedown. If you remember those shoes, really low price point. These are going to be coming in around $80 or so, and they're going to have 4 different colorways. They're not out, but look for those colorways to drop around Thanksgiving, but for sure Christmas is when they're saying that they're going to have these in by. So let's get to, first off, I'm a big guy that looks on looks for wrestling shoes. And first off, I hate all one colorway, but I know this is like kind of what the first shoe that they dropped to kind of get some feedback on. I know lots of people do like one colorways, but I do not. So overall look of this color specifically, not a fan. They have white and red ones, white and blue ones. I love those, but I haven't had my hands on those. So first off, just holding the shoe, this is going to be a very, very lightweight shoe. If you've got the inflicts, if you've got the hyper sweeps, I would say kind of a mixture of the both as far as light goes and the feel. One thing that these shoes, the Nike Furies, have is there's not a lot to them. There's not a lot of flashiness to them. There's not a lot of overall weight. It's really it's got that sock feel. And if you have a pair of hyper sweeps, you will have, there's a couple spots in the hyper sweeps that really kind of mimic this Fury. Right here, if you've got a pair of Fury hyper sweeps, this area in here, this material mimics really exactly what's on these Furies here, but there's just a lot more of it. So that's a good little point of reference if you do have a pair of Nike hyper sweeps. All right, so back to the differences in this shoe to the hyper sweeps I thought this was a little weird, and I think it just kind of they're working on just trying to make this as light a shoe as possible, not as much material. There is this little gap here, so it gives it a little bit of a 3D look, something that I haven't seen in any shoes before. And if you kind of open up this a little bit, you open up the laces, it gives you a little bit more of, breathability to get your ankle in there. So getting the shoe on isn't too hard, but once you get this sucker in here, these shoes are very narrow. So if you've got wide feet, this is definitely a shoe that I would suggest trying on first and maybe sizing up. I wear an 8.5 in the hyper sweeps and the inflicts. This one fits a little bit more snug. Maybe it was just the socks that I was wearing, but it did seem to be a little bit more snug. Another feature that I really, really like from the Nike Fury is the shoelace strap itself. The inflicts, they had the lace that it goes all the way around. Lots of shoes have that. Goes clear across here. But this, you can just pull down the strap, put your laces in here, and you're ready to go. Obviously, that's not as pretty as you guys will make it, but this little shoelace strap is very handy. It's not bulky. You're not gonna, in practice, you're not gonna get your buddy with Velcro. I still like this. I'm so old school and like to tape up my shoes every single day of practice. So again, the tightness of the shoe. As far as overall, what are you going to use this shoe for? When I give you lots of shoe reviews, it's either, hey, is this a tournament shoe or a practice shoe? This is an everyday shoe that I think you will enjoy in the practice room, but I wouldn't wear it for a tournament. For tournaments, I would go with the hyper sweep. It's a lot more flashy. It's got more colors on it, and durability-wise, I don't think you're going to have a whole lot of issues with these as well. Mainly with practice shoes is we're going from in and out of the wrestling room. We're going to cement sometimes. We're going to, in the hallways. This is all one shoe, all one sole here. And it's pretty thick little rubber grip on here, so your soles are definitely not going to wear out like some other shoes I'm sure you've gotten. Not from Nike, but I know there's some shoes that definitely have a sole that is a little bit more thinner, kind of your older school shoes. This sole reminds me of the old Nike Grecos, actually. These were a shoe that was around a long time ago, and you can see kind of the similarities on it as far as a one shoe. It's not a split sole, so maybe, I'm not sure if they went back and looked at these and if they had success with those. Obviously, this has got more weight to these ones. So the sole is going to be all one. I don't prefer these. I would like to have a split sole myself. But again, I've talked to people that like the whole one sole, but I like split sole. As far as grips go, there's not a lot of the fancy grip that you see like in the Rulons in the past, Rudis Caligas in the past. Definitely a different sole than the Hyper Sweeps as well. Those are more of like a soft rubber. This is a hard rubber. I mean, this almost feels like a tire rubber. So these were really going to hold up in your practice. And I think as far as teams go, this is going to be a very affordable shoe for teams to get if you're kind of into that. You know, your whole team wears the exact same shoes. Be looking for that for postseason play. But they've got red and whites. And the red and blues, and some other colorways that will be dropping soon. So price point around $80 for these. If I had to rate these shoes out of all of the Nikes that have been coming out lately, I would prefer the Freaks over these. I would prefer the Hyper Sweeps over these, but again, these are at a lower price point. So, you know, your entry-level wrestlers are going to be able to get into these. Your coaches are going to be able to get in these for really cheap. Youth are going to be able to get into these for very cheap. So maybe I'm just spoiled and I like the fancy stuff, but this is just a nice general shoe that's going to give you a lot of wear and tear. So that has been my review on the Nike Fury from APS.